Welcome to Beat Diabetes. Today we're talking about rice, but not real rice. Anybody that knows much about blood sugar and what spikes blood sugar knows that rice is not the friend of those who have glucose problems. So those of us that are diabetic or that are pre-diabetic or just worried about their glucose spikes, we're always looking for rice substitutes. And I've mentioned a couple of them. And of course, the most common rice substitute is cauliflower. But some of you are saying, cauliflower, schmaliflower, I'm so tired of cauliflower. Is there no substitute for rice besides cauliflower? And the answer is yes and no. Now, the substitute I'm going to give you today is not a substitute for white rice. This has no resemblance to white rice. It doesn't taste like white rice. What it does resemble and taste like is wild rice. So it's a crunchier kind of a rice, but it's perfect for putting some kind of a beef over it or chicken over it, sauce over it, and using it in different dishes. We're going to make a special cheese, broccoli, and rice dish using this substitute recipe. So the three main ingredients for this, and by the way, I didn't come up with this on my own. I wasn't sitting in a chair and lightning just struck my brain and suddenly I figured it all out that this is what I should do. I got it the way many of you get recipes from looking at YouTube. And this was actually first, I think, presented by a guy with a website called a YouTube channel called ruled.me. I have no idea how he came up with that name, ruled.me. And then the Keto twins found it and tried it. They just loved it. So I thought, well, if the Keto twins love it, maybe I will too. And so the three main ingredients are these. First, we have mushrooms. We have to thank Benedicta for the size of these mushrooms. I bought them in a package and they were quite good-sized mushrooms, and she chopped them up finely, which is the way I would prefer it. But you may like bigger mushrooms. And then second, almond slices. And the third main ingredient, and probably the biggest ingredient, in fact, no probably about it, it is the biggest ingredient, is hemp hearts. Hemp hearts are an interesting phenomenon. This lists for a serving size of 3 tablespoons, only 1 gram of carbs. So very low in carbs, but here's the kicker. Even that 1 scrawny gram of carbs is fiber. So theoretically, they shouldn't do a single thing to your blood sugar. Just let it remain flat. So hemp hearts, going to be a lot of these, and almonds, and then the mushrooms. Now we're going to put this together. I'm going to make a double recipe because we're going to create another dish out of this rice in a little bit. So right now, let's go to our narrator who will tell you how to make this rice.
Today I doubled the ordinary recipe, but in listing the ingredients, I'll share a single recipe size. First, melt 2 tablespoons of butter in a pan on medium to medium-high heat. When melted, add 1/4 cup of sliced almonds and about a 1/2 cup of sliced mushrooms. Let these cook together and blend their tastes for several minutes. Once the mushrooms have turned soft, add 1 cup of hemp seeds, 1/2 cup of chicken broth, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, several shakes of dried parsley flakes, and several shakes of pepper. Stir everything together well and keep on stirring until the liquid is absorbed into the mixture. This will take a few minutes, but don't be in a hurry.
Okay, well, our wild rice, really keto type rice, is done and it looks great. And I have to confess, I sort of broke my rule. My rule is you don't eat between meals. I took a bite and I'm going to take another bite for your sake. I find this to be the best batch yet. I made 3 batches. The previous 2 batches were good, but they were a little bit too salty. I cut back on the salt and this really tastes good. It's crunchy like wild rice is. No, it's not white rice, and it doesn't taste like white rice. But in some ways, I think it tastes better than white rice. And you could put anything on there. I almost bought a rotisserie chicken at the grocery store today and thought I could just cut some of those pieces and stick it in with here, and I'd have a meal. And earlier, Benedict and I had a turkey stew, and we poured it over some of this, and it was quite good. But this is the best yet. The seasonings really make it. It would be bland if there weren't any seasonings in it. But the garlic and the parsley and whatever, and some of you were probably, you'd be a lot more creative than I would. And you'll figure out all kinds of ways to improve it. Basically, you got three main ingredients that pretty much need to be there: the hemp seeds and the almond slices and the, what's the other one, sweetie?
Mushroom.
The mushroom. Thank you. Benedict is on the other side of the camera. So yeah, hemp seeds, mushrooms, and almond slices are the three biggies. And from there, whatever seasonings you like, but a little garlic works well for me, and some pepper. And of course, the chicken stock is going to provide some salt. So we're going to go to step 2 now, and I'm going to make something my mom used to make for us when we were smaller. And that is a broccoli, cheese, rice casserole. And of course, she used real rice. That's what everybody did in those days. But we're not going to use real rice. We're going to use this baby. And it takes a lot of it, 3 cups. And then we're going to mix some cheese recipe, a melted cheese recipe I got from Joe Duff. And what's the other thing? Broccoli, of course, is going to be in there. So this is going to be, I hope, really good. I haven't done this before, so we'll let you know. But I have a feeling it's going to be quite good. I'm real pleased with this rice. I'm excited. It's so much better than when it was too salty. That extra salt was just too much. But now that we've cut back on the salt and we've got more other things in there, real good. So let's go back to the announcer to tell you how to make part B of this amazing recipe.
Actually, there is a part B and a part C. For part B, first melt 2 tablespoons of butter in a saucepan and then mix in 1/4 cup of heavy cream and 1/4 cup of almond milk. Pour in 1½ cups of shredded cheese and melt it together on medium heat. Continually stir until it is blended. It won't take more than 3 or 4 minutes, then set that aside. For part C, chop and cook about 12 ounces of broccoli in butter. Then mix in 1 cup of minced onion sauteed in butter, the melted cheese that you just made, 1 can of mushroom soup, 3 cups of your keto hemp seed rice. Mix all this thoroughly and place it in a casserole dish. Cook at 350 for around 30 minutes. But pull this out of the oven after about 22 minutes and place fried onion rings on top. Put it back in the oven for 8 more minutes and you are done.
Okay, the meal is made and it looks just about like it did when my mom made it so many years ago. And my sister makes it still today. In fact, she kind of gave me the idea for this and sent me the recipe. Of course, she uses regular rice and I use the special rice we made earlier. It does have some French fried onions, so they're going to add some carbs. They're not super high because you're not getting that many, but you are getting some. But that's how Mom made it, and in honor of her, and plus I wanted to kind of taste those anyway. So let me go ahead and spoon out a batch. This is going to be my dinner, and it hasn't been long since it's been in the oven. You can probably see the steam rising out of it. And let's just give it a taste test and see how this compares with the original. So, broccoli, cheese, and rice dish using special keto wild rice recipe. Quite good. Quite good. Super good. Does it taste as good as Mom's? Oh, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It's been so long since I had it. I can't hardly remember how hers tasted. It's not the same, obviously, because she used white rice. So here's an option for you. Actually, this is a meatless dish. It has animal product, I guess, when you include the cheese, but not that I'm trying to avoid meat. I eat plenty of meat, but in this case, it has no meat. But it is very good, with all that cheese and the fat in there, it's filling. And those hemp seeds, essentially no carbs at all. So here is an option for your eating pleasure. Bon appetit!
If you've recently been diagnosed with diabetes and you've just discovered this channel, let me recommend that you go to our Uploads page, which will give you access to every diabetic video we've posted since we began. As you work your way through all our videos, I believe you'll find the help you need. A link to our Uploads page is in the description.